But what awards?
Let me tell you. So this movie won 4 awards at the 2002 Atlantic Film Festival for Best Canadian Film, Best Director, Best Sound Design, and Best Editing. It also got 3 Genie Award nominations. I think, if I remember right, those are Canadian Movie Awards. For Best Supporting Actor, Best Editing, and Best Original Score. And the Best Supporting Actor, I'm pretty sure, is the guy who played the ambassador.
So was it the only one in the category?
Possibly. Oh, and the director/writer/star picked up an Emerging Master trophy from the Seattle International Film Festival. Emerging Master. For this.
You know what? It was a different time. Isn't this early 2000s?
Yeah, 2002.
It probably felt real avant-garde in early 2000. It probably felt real. Ooh, he's saying something. And it's also one of those movies that you watch it, when you get done, you look around to see if everybody else liked it. And if they did, you're like, well, I have to too, because if I didn't, then I'm dumb. And that's exactly what this kind of movie strives to be. The one where everybody has to be like, oh my God, I love it. And secretly they're all like, I didn't get it. I don't know what it's about. But you don't want to be the one that didn't get it.
I like that it fully strides the line between art film and actual B- hot garbage.
Yeah, I did not think I would find a movie that I disliked as much as I disliked Ikwe. But here we are. Here we are in this moment where I have learned a new thing about myself, which is that there are depths I have not plumbed of movies that I just wish had never come across my life. And this one did. And so here we are.
You're welcome. I had to buy this. I had to buy this on DVD. It's in a record somewhere. People know that I have Romanian pornography in my house.
You are definitely on a list.
Oh, I'm on a list.
So anyway, hi, I'm Rachel.
I nearly said, and I'm Matt. And I'm Meg. And this is Ger Can Get It. This week, the Romanian Tourism Board's least favorite movie.
Yes, correct. Yes. Yes. They're like, who let him in this country? Who?
If they gave awards for makeouts on screen or stage, this guy would get a lifetime achievement. He'll find any excuse to get right to sucking face. You honestly wouldn't believe it. Dissecting each and every kiss with tongue. There's only one conclusion to come to. It's that Ger can get it.
Speaking of, so if you go to IMDb, if you scroll down far enough, there's a place for reviews, I found out, which I wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
Fully half of them are like, greatest art house movie I've ever seen. I wept for the Romanian people. And the other half are from Romanians. Well, that's not fair. That's not true. So there's one review from a Romanian person going, I no longer live in Romania and I miss Romania. And this movie is a good way to show people the complicated relationship that Romanians have with their home and with, is it Bucharest? It's Bucharest.
Yeah,
right?
they're in Bucharest.
With Bucharest. And like it shows the good and it shows the bad, and it like made me miss my home, basically, is the one review. And the other review is a Romanian person going, this is the worst fucking piece of anti-Romanian propaganda I've ever seen. Romania is not like this. The fuck is wrong with you? We're not all armless, legless thieves. Why would you make this movie? This is a Romanian hate crime.
What was this? What was this?
This movie, so we haven't even said the name of the movie. This movie is called The Wild Dogs, and it's important. Yeah, because there's another movie just called Wild Dogs, and I think it's
that one.
I think it's about. Am I thinking of Wild Hogs? Anyway, there is a movie called Wild Dogs. That's not this. You want the one? I think the cover has like a sad woman. Is it the woman walking next to the legless child? It's a very sad. It's a very sad picture. If it looks dramatic and sad and like an art house movie, then you've picked the right one.
That's it. Correct. Yeah.
It's from 2002. Ger's character is in the movie for about 38 seconds.
Yes, twice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a total of 38 seconds over two scenes.
Both, yeah.
Yeah. His name is Colin, and he plays the worst character I've ever seen Ger play. And I need you, audience, to understand what I'm saying when I say this, because we have seen him be a country fried Southern lawyer who imitates fellatio.
No, we have seen him crying, singing Wee Willie Winky to
correct.
himself.
Yeah. We've seen him lock women up in basements. This character is so much worse. This character actively seeks out child pornography.
We have seen him lock women in basements more than once.
Oh, correct.
Just realized that that's a bit of a trend. The worst characteristic, the secret worst characteristic. Did anyone get locked up in a basement? Was it a hot woman? Did he call them a snack at any point during the movie?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's never not playing a vampire. Like that's the more I think about it, the more I'm like,
yeah.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a skill set and he uses it in every movie.
He does. He's like, you know what you got. You knew why you hired me.
You pay me in ham. I bring my own chains. I have 6 extremely comically oversized suits in the trunk of my car and my own box of wigs.
Will I need a tie? Yes or no?
That tells me how evil to act. Although now that you mention that, I know, so Ger's character is basically a voice on a phone, but you do see him, like you do see his face. I don't remember whether he's wearing a tie or not.
No.
Is he? No.
He's not even wearing a suit. I don't think.
He's just creepy pornographer.
He's in like a polo shirt. It literally looks like they were like, hey, can you just come be the voice? We'll put the script down on the table. You don't even have to memorize it. And he was like, will there be ham? And they were like, yes, there will.
In the drawers of this office desk while you work. Just you open it up and just start snacking on ham. Oh my God. Yeah, so his character, Colin, no last name needed, plays the boss of the main character, and he will pop up twice. Once at the beginning of the movie to go, hey, main character, whose name is Jordan, but fuck that guy. We don't need to know that.
Yeah.
Hey, main character, please go to Romania tomorrow at 6 a.m. so you can take... Well, at first I think he just says like very young photos, like photos of very young women. But then he makes it pretty clear that he actually wants underage photos of children because, quote, the laws in Romania are different.
Yes.
So we're gonna let that seep into our souls.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, Kelly and everyone else who hates the barf noise, but we're going to be making it a lot throughout this.
The best part of this is this guy is on the phone with him and it keeps doing like a side profile view of the guy while he's on the phone. And behind him on the wall is a poster. And it looks like it takes up the whole frame because the way we frame the guy's head, it's just him and then the poster on the wall behind him. And it is a giant pair of tits.
I think it says something that I did not notice that.
That's all. With the tiniest little token bikini cover over the most important bits. But other than that, it is like tanned, oiled up porn tits on the wall behind this guy.
I think it's a real shame that we are audio only because the gesture you just did when you tried to describe her bra, I thought you were saying that she had teeny tiny little nipples. You were doing the little like radio dial nipple gesture with your hands.
Nope, just like...
And I was like, maybe I should rewatch that scene. I know. I am so grossed out by that scene because Ger, I think I even took a quote. I think I even made a note. He says something like, the pictures that you have been sending me are not very good. I want pussy. He says the word pussy, and it was so upsetting for me. I was like, no. TV dad of stage and screen. Don't say pussy. No. It was so gross. It was worse for me, and I don't like, this is bad maybe to admit this. It was more upsetting to me that he said the word pussy than that he followed it with, P.S. I would like child porn. It was more the sound, the actual sound of the word pussy. I was like, it was so bad. Sorry, I wrote this in all caps. Yeah, he wants underage girl photos. He wants to see some pussy.
Yeah.
I don't like that word in general. It's like I don't know.
I think it's important to note that I watched this entire movie while my kids were at a trampoline park. So I was literally sitting at a picnic table at a trampoline park watching this.
Watching Romanian porn
with one ear. There's definitely a part later where it's surprise sex scene, and I was like, oh! I set the phone down and put my hands over top of the screen.
You're gonna get kicked out of the trampoline park.
Waited for the moaning to stop, and then was like, okay, I think they're done, and then I just picked it back up again.
Oh, I'm crying. That's how you get put on a watch list. If you watch Romanian torture porn in the trampoline park, you get on the local news for that.
I was sitting in one of those massage chairs where you pay and it massages. I was watching the scene. And it's like, so I'm like, like rattling back, trying to hold it while he's like, I want to see some pussy. And I was like, okay, well, this was the right moment for this, I guess. Oh no, I killed Meg.
Oh my God. The only way this could be worse is if you were wearing a tracksuit and gold chains. Like the only.
Although the seat was broken, so every time it would switch between whether it was massaging my legs or my back or whatever, it would poke me in the butt. I don't know what it was supposed to be doing. There must have been some, I don't know, massage thing that was supposed to be happening at my lower back, but instead it just went bloop. It's like, we got to stop doing that because it's not that kind of chair.
I mean, it sounds like the ideal chair to watch Romanian torture porn at the children's trampoline park.
Yeah, what was this movie?
This movie tried so hard. This movie is, I'm glad that you keep mentioning Ikwe, because this movie to me is very much the counterpart to Ikwe.
Yeah.
They both thought that they had really helpful historical information to impart and that they were going to do it in a way that was like entertaining and informative. They all won awards that are deeply confusing now to a modern audience because these movies feel so heavy-handed and so cheesy. And like, I think,
exploitative?
I don't remember. Correct, yeah. Well, yeah, both of them, correct, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember how long Ikwe actually is, but this movie is an hour and 40 minutes long, but it feels like a 6-hour long movie. It feels like it never, ever ends.
Yeah, I paused it and was like, you have an hour left. And I was like, I'm going to die. I have an hour left?
Yeah. But both of them really were very proud of themselves, and both of them really were like, yes, like we are doing like a service for humanity, like we're doing a good thing, we're like putting a good thing out in the world. So for that reason only, I like Ikwe and the Wild Dogs better than a movie like American Psycho 2, All-American Girl. Yeah. Because that movie is just cynical, just like a cynical garbage cash grab. Like it knew it was bad and it didn't try to be good and it didn't care.
No.
These ones tried to be good, and they overshot so far into. I mean, like we keep saying pornography, and
it's like an Ouroboros. They went all the way back around and started eating themselves.
Eating itself, yeah. So we're gonna do the best we can, and I'm gonna do the best that I can to use the most politically correct language that I can. I'm gonna try real hard. If I use the wrong words, someone will correct me and tell me that I'm wrong and offensive, and we'll go from there. But we're going to do the best we can. But this movie is clumsy, and I don't know a way to talk about it that is not also probably going to be clumsy. So we're gonna dive in. We're gonna try.
There's no way through but through.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Okay, so there's basically two competing storylines in the movie. The one that we start with, which is following a Romanian dog catcher named Bogdan. But his story, like, I'm going to go through it real quick because I just feel like it's more like color, like background color. Like, here's Romania, here's Bucharest. Like, look at it, it's sad. Okay, and then we go to our main story with Jordan, the fat pornographer creep. So we're going to talk about Bogdan real quick. Bogdan is a dog catcher. Bogdan is bad at his job. He's not good at catching dogs. That's basically his whole...
Because he likes dogs.
Because he likes dogs. Yeah, he's a nice guy. He's not like... it's not like Tom and Jerry where the dogs are just too smart. He's just too nice of a guy.
Yeah.
The first scene in the movie is him showering in the nude, which thankfully the camera is just a little bit
north of the danger zone.
North of But for the first like 2 seconds on screen, I was like, am I watching full frontal?
Is this what we're gonna do right now? Okay. This is why it's an art. This is why it won an award, an art house film. Okay, got it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, we see male bush, so like immediately, best Canadian film of the year in terms of the amount of bush you see. I think it's good though in like setting the expectations for the amount of surprising, upsetting nudity that this movie has.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, there will be crying in showers. That will be a theme of this movie. There will be blasé women talking about the war while they're naked and their ankles are around their necks. I mean, like that's the vibe of this movie. Like sad, disaffected people smoking cigarettes while like shooting ping pong balls out of their vaginas. Like that's basically what this movie is. That's
children with no lower half.
This movie, okay.
On roller skates.
On one roller skate, one
singular roller skate. Yes, correct.
This movie is regular porn. It's poverty porn. It's disability porn.
It is all of them.
It is all the kinds of porn, and none of them are like the fun kind where we're all having a good time.
No one is having a good time.
No,
everyone is exploited and nobody is having a good time.
Correct. So we've got the dog catcher. He's bad at his job. He has a wife and a baby. Anytime that they're filmed, they're all like damp and sweaty and living in squalor because that's the vibe of the movie. He will eventually at some point find some puppies in a box because it's the kind of movie where you just leave puppies in a box on the street corner and you don't care what happens to them. He will try to save them, and then he ends up trying to save like all the dogs he catches. He stores them in a building that I think is an abandoned spa, but it's an abandoned something or other anyways.
They call it a bathhouse.
A bathhouse, yeah. That makes sense. So he has like 20 to 30 wild dogs in an abandoned Romanian bathhouse, as you do. And then I guess, like, I don't know, the neighbors complain about 30 dogs screaming all night, maybe. And so there ends up being a police standoff with him and 30 dogs and the cops. And the cops win, because they always win. They don't shoot and kill him, which is like the only thing this movie was missing was just reckless on the street murder. So like thumbs up for not doing that. The cops end up arresting him. His wife and baby can't find him. His wife then goes and drops off the baby at, I'm going to say, either a neighbor or possibly an orphanage. It like wasn't really clear to me. She just like throws the baby at somebody else. And this guy's story basically ends. Some of his puppies get taken. Some of them get euthanized.
On the screen.
We watched the puppy get euthanized on screen, which was a choice. Because they picked the cutest. They picked the cutest,
I know, and they like
puppy.
snuggle hold it. They're like, oh, you're so cute. And go, I was like, it was awful, Meg.
This movie was a lot.
It was so much. And that's at the end of the movie. And I've just been watching the rest of this horrific movie. And you know how the best way to end this movie? He wanted to be sure he got an award. He was like, no one is going to not get me an award if I kill a dog on screen.
Yeah.
And he was like, how about if I'm going to one up him? I'm going to kill a puppy, a cute puppy.
This movie is like, it's so sad that it becomes comical about halfway through.
Because you're just like, oh no, my God, are they all going to...
I will say the only good thing with the puppy death is, you're right, they do coddle the cutest, sweetest little brown, like German shepherd with the little floppy baby ears puppy.
Yeah.
They bring it onto the little doctor's table. They do like the fake needle poke in his little puppy bum. And then the puppy falls asleep. The puppy is so little, he doesn't know he's in the world's worst Romanian tourism video. So he's just there falling asleep, and you see his little back like go up and down because he's breathing in his sleep while he's napping. And then the camera just cuts away.
Yeah.
And like okay, so in The Shape of Water, there's a scene where spoiler alert, I guess, where the fish monster eats a cat. And I found that very personally, like, I was upset, and it's goofy. It's a fish man eating a cat. The cat is fine.
Yeah.
The ASPCA was like, no cats were eaten by fish monsters in this movie. I was really upset by that. This was like a fake capped needle in the bum of like a palm-sized puppy who then took a nap. So it's... I'm a person who gets really upset with like animal harm in movies. And for this, maybe I just got so jaded by the time we get to the puppy murder that I was like, whatever.
Yeah, because there's a lot of dog violence up until this, because he's just filming dogs on the street and interspersing footage of dogs on the street.
Yeah.
And then he goes to that dog kennel, and that's probably a real dog kennel. And they're like sticking their heads through broken fences and stuff. And I was like, all right, that's really happening. Yeah,
it did feel like anytime they weren't really sure what to put on screen, they were like, what about a sad dog?
Well, it was called The Wild Dogs. He was like, I mean, I got to earn the name.
This movie was so fucking heavy-handed. But anyway, so like there's him, there's the dog catcher. There's like not much about him. He's just sort of to add color. Although at one point, the legless children will steal his shoes, which I would just like us to sit for a minute and think about what the legless children will be doing with the dog catcher's shoes. But, it's that kind of movie. It's that kind of vibe. So we just go away, Bogdan. We don't care about him. So the main story, as we said, is about Ger's budding child pornography business. You know, you got to be an entrepreneur. The main character is the photographer who works for the pornography company. His name is either Jordan, which is what I heard when watching, or Jordy, which is what it says online on IMDb. But I feel like IMDb probably gave as much of a shit about this movie as we did. So the main character, he doesn't matter. The main character, though, is the writer and the director.
Yes.
And the star, of this whole movie. And I feel like
an odd vanity project.
Well, I just feel like it's important to remember that in all the scenes where I'm just going to say, okay, so I've seen a photo of the writer, director, star now, and he looks fine. He's like in his 50s now, probably like late 40s, early 50s. And he's got like a salt and pepper beard, and he's not the world's ugliest, schlubbiest man. So I'm not saying this about the man himself. But in this movie, he's a big fat turd, okay?
He's not a good character.
No.
He's the grossest person in the movie.
He's so fucking gross. He's like a big lump, and it's because it's 2002. I feel like there was at least one scene with him wearing tiny glasses, and maybe I just mentally like added tiny glasses onto him because he's so gross. But he's like early 2002 schlub. Like, he just looks like his whole body needs to be ironed.
He just looks like sweat.
Yes. Yeah, damp. Just a damp character.
Yeah.
And he will have so much sex with so many beautiful women. I just think we all need to remember that this is the man who wrote the movie when we're watching this. Because it feels like, on the one hand, you're like art house film. On the other hand, you're like boobs. And I mean, you know, if that's how you're going to get it, sir, I guess they agreed to star in this legally a movie. But I just...
Legally a movie, yes.
This item of video content. So Ger will be like, get me some kitty porn. And Jordan is like, aye, chief. And so he flies to Romania. Before he flies to Romania, his girlfriend will be like, hey, don't have sex with the girls you take photos of. And my first thought was, well, he couldn't if he wanted to. Look at him. He looks like he smells. He looks like he smells like a tuna sandwich, and he hasn't eaten a tuna sandwich. That's what this man looks like. And the girlfriend is like, well, that's how we met. And I'm like, bitch, really? Really? Because it's not even like, there's nothing to suggest that this is like the premier porno mag. Like, if you get into his website / magazine, that it'll somehow like catapult you to pornographic stardom or something. I need the audience to understand that this seems like a very low quality, like bottom of the bin.
This isn't Playgirl.
No.
No. College Hunks edition, 1994.
No, that is the classiest magazine. Only true aficionados of the pornographic
If you have to own
art.
any porn magazine, it should probably be a Playgirl with a Forever Night article in it.
Oh my God, I still see those dicks when I close my eyes. They're upsetting. So, It doesn't make any sense other than as a vanity project for there to be a girlfriend character at all, because he will cheat on her immediately when he goes to Romania.
Yeah, he's like, sure, never gonna fuck anybody. Nope.
Yeah, thumbs up, like bag of condoms.
Trips and falls into a vagina when he gets off the airplane.
I mean, it happens in Romania. The streets are
littered
that
with
way.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, why is she even here? Why is this actress gets 1.5 lines? Like, you're not getting your SAG credit for that. But anyways, so. He will have a hot girlfriend who's like, don't fall in love, don't have sex with strangers. And he's like, cannot promise, on the plane to Romania. So on the plane to Romania, he will, of course, sit next to the ambassador, the Canadian ambassador to Romania. And no one in this movie ever says Canadian. But if you look up anything about the movie, they all say that the main character is Canadian and the ambassador is Canadian. And these are all Canadian people. I'm sure. So... thank you for the Canadian content movie. Thumbs up. So the guy he sits next to looks like Colin Fior, is not Colin Fior.
I thought for a minute, I was like, no. Okay.
Right? For like half a second. He's got like similar face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Colin Fior was like, I am staying the fuck away from this.
Thank God. Because if that was Colin Fior, I'd be like, no, Colin. No.
Dear Sir Colin.
Did someone have compromising photos of you? Because that's the only reason you would be in this movie. Yeah.
Although, can I just say, I looked up the actor who plays the ambassador, and he has a distinguished career. He has been in like 50 things, a lot of Shakespeare, a lot of like historical real life events, movies. He has been in a lot. He's a Scottish actor, and he does a very good North American accent even. Like, just, I feel bad for Ger, But I feel worse for this guy because this guy has to be straight up nude and talking about his balls and being the grossest character in a movie solely comprised of gross characters. I don't know how else to explain the character that this man plays. But anyways, his name is Victor, and he's the Canadian ? Ambassador to Romania. He will be sitting next to our main character, Jordan. He will start having like some kind of a medical fit. Jordan will kind of schlubbishly reach into the guy's bag and bring him his pills. And then the ambassador's like, you're my best friend for life.
Schlubbishly.
He's everything this guy does. He's a schlub. He moves schlubbishly. Everything that comes about him is just an air, like a gas, like a schlub gas comes out of him. He's gross. He's so gross and damp. And like I say, the actor / director / writer, I'm sure he's very nice and he looks handsome-ish. He looks fine. He looks fine as a normal person.
He's fine.
But in this movie, he's so gross and damp. And I feel like the character is not meant to be as gross as he comes off. I think he wants him to be a little heroic, and it's not enough to combat the grossness that comes off of him.
Yeah.
Because again, we need to not forget that like Ger's character straight out is like, go get me kitty porn. And the guy's like, okay, that's the amount of resistance he gives. And it's not like, gee, I have some moral qualms about getting kitty porn. It's more like,
well, Bucharest?
Yeah. Yes, correct. Yeah.
Couldn't
I get you kitty porn in Hawaii? That would be more fun for me. Like it's such a weird vibe.
Can we get tropical kitty porn?
Send me to Guam. Like this whole movie, the whole vibe is very like the things that make people upset are not the things that should make them upset, and the things that don't are just deeply disturbing for the audience. Anyways, yeah. So like people are more like annoyed by the sea of homeless, like armless, legless dogs and children than they are like worried about it. But they're like real annoyed at the interruptions to their pussy parties. Anyways. So he saves the life of the ambassador, who's like, you're my best friend. Let's go on an adventure together. And so Victor, the ambassador, brings Jordan, the pornographer, over to meet his wife, who is played by Alberta Watson, who played the mother of Hedwig in Hedwig and the Angry Inch, which is, I was like, oh, you're a real actress who's been in good things that are also art house things with like a weird sexual undertone. But like Hedwig is a good movie, arguably. This is just straight up porn. But anyways, so Alberta Watson plays the wife, Natalie. Then there's the daughter, Mal, or possibly Mel, because I've seen it written different ways, who is played by Rachel Blanchard. And I was like, why does she look familiar? She played the main character in the TV version of Clueless. So like all these actors, correct. These actors all go on to like non-Romanian pornography. So I'm really very happy for all of them. They get to be in good things, but they had to suffer through this first. Whatever Faustian pact they signed with the devil, they had to get through Romanian porn land first.
That's what this feels like. Purgatory. Yeah. Yes.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. And we all had to suffer for them. But I'm glad that their careers, and actually when I looked up Rachel Blanchard, she's been in like tons of other things and a lot of more recent things, but they were things that I hadn't seen. But I was like, Clueless. Oh my God. So anyways, these characters suck. They suck a lot. So they don't know their own servants' names, and they basically spend an entire dinner scene talking about how behind the rest of the world Romania is, and how like both like socially and also their clothes are ugly. It was like, what are we doing here? What, like, you want to make this great art house movie and you're giving me 20 minutes of Westerners being like, they dress ugly and I don't know their names. And I was like, okay.
And they kill homosexual people.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Because the guy's like, well, I'm gay. And she's like, well, don't tell anybody here because you'll get thrown in jail.
Yeah, they do make like a weird flippant joke about homosexuality. And I thought maybe it was going to be picked up somewhere later. Like there'd be a gay character or like a hate crime.
Mm-mm.
No, they're just like, one of the many ways Romania is backwards, they hate the gays. Like next scene. And I was like, oh, okay.
Although I do like in the plane, you skipped it, but I feel it's important to note that he helps that ambassador. And then the ambassador guy is like, so what do you do? And he's like, I make porn. And the guy's like, wow, that sounds like a fun job. And he's like, yeah, you got to get a guy's dick to stay up for 10 hours. And the ambassador's like, you're going to be great, man. You remind me of me. And I was like, okay, this is how this movie's going to go. Because he's literally like, I'm a pornographer. I make porn. And the guy's like, that's kind of hot. You want to be my best friend? He's like, yeah.
That is exactly how that scene plays out. It's just none of these characters feel real. They all just feel like someone threw up on a sidewalk and it came to life.
Ooh, I can't imagine someone being like, I mean, maybe two dudes. I don't know. But I can't imagine some being like, yeah, I do. I make porn.
Well, doesn't the ambassador at first think he's joking, and then he's like, "No, I in fact make pornography."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an odd moment.
It's the whole movie is a series of odd moments, and it's gonna get worse. But so we meet the wife and we meet the daughter, and they both kind of suck, and they're both kind of creepy. The mom has her own like subplot, and I'm deeply uncomfortable with it. So I'm gonna skim through it real quick. Feel free, Rachel, if you have anything to add about the mother's subplot. But there's a little boy whose name is Dorutu, and we will see him at various moments throughout the movie, kind of like he's basically just acting as background color, and then he will eventually kind of become a character on his own with the mother in her subplot. But he's the little boy that we mentioned earlier who just doesn't have legs. Like it just goes down to his hip bones and then nothing. So he rides around town on what appears to be one singular 1950s like Russian overstock roller skate.
Yeah.
He's real good at it. I'm real impressed by his skill set because he's riding it like it's a skateboard. He's like doing tricks and shit. He will run around town, he will scoot around town, begging from strangers. We get a scene of him swimming in a fountain, like living his best life. He will talk to one of his little friends and be like, hey, do you have like a dad or a parent or whatever? And the friend is like, I have a master. And the kid's like, the little Dorutu is like, your master is a pimp and I sort of don't want to be involved in the sex trade because I'm 6.5 and adorable. And his friend's like, well, if you don't have a master, I can't be your friend. Bye. Fuck off. So then this little legless kid becomes friends with the mother, but basically by like scooting around and following her around like a homeless dog. That's exactly how the movie is being real subtle with it. They're like, see what he's doing?
She's not telling him to go away.
Yeah, she will put food outside on the ground for him.
Isn't that cute?
It's fucking sweet. And basically like all it needed was a metal dog bowl. It was so awful. Yep. And then my favorite Pretty Woman scene is she like sort of adopts this kid, like brings him into the house and like cleans him up and whatever. She will take him shoe shopping with her, which, why are you taking the legless kid shoe shopping with you? But also, just like a stray dog, he will have to sit outside the glass of the store and like point at the shoes she's trying on.
Yes.
The legless child, the footless child, the child with no feet. You're asking him his opinion on which shoes to wear. And it's very much like a Pretty Woman moment. She's like, these? And he's like, no. She's like, those? And he's like, no. And she's like, how about these? And he's like, yes. Those are the shoes for you, new mommy. And I was like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a great little actor and he's very cute and very charming. He's got like a lot of personality. In the 25 seconds the movie lets him have a personality when he's not just scooting around Bucharest, but like it really does feel like she adopted a puppy and then put a little like bow around his neck and is like, look at the new toy I have.
Yeah. Okay, aren't I a nice person?
Yeah. Yeah, she'll go and visit an orphanage at one point, but that just feels like more poverty porn because they're like, here's the children whose parents couldn't afford to feed them. They're not actually orphans. Their parents just had no money for food. Like, let's do the tour.
Isn't that where they did the study about what happens to a child when you don't touch them?
I think so, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Where they're like in cribs way too long and they don't have any human contact and no one talks to them. Yeah,
and they don't have any interaction and you literally don't develop the ability to connect with people.
Yeah. No, I think I remember reading that the World's Saddest Newsweek article. Yeah, I think that sounds familiar. Yeah. Anyways, Bucharest. It's fun. So that's basically the mother's side story. And at the end of the movie, so she knows her husband's a whore. Spoiler alert, we're going to find out her husband's a whore. At the end of the movie, his cancer, because he has testicular cancer, that's why he had to take pills at the beginning of the movie. His cancer will, I guess, have, I don't know, rotted through both testicles. I don't know. He needs to have his testicles removed. So the doctor will come out of surgery and be like, your husband, his testicles. And she's like, nope, snip them right off. And I was like, oh, good for you, girl. Good. Yay. Mm-hmm. You got your comeuppance, I guess. Cool. Because the doctor's like, should we? I don't know. And she's like, I don't give a shit. Just put him in a baggie and give him to me and I'll keep him in my purse as a fun memory for later.
He had all of the use he needed out of him. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, castrate him right away. Okay, so that's her. So we will be after dinner. We'll meet the crappy family. And then the ambassador's like, hey, you should come with me to a nightclub. And I was like, okay, this guy seems a little gross, but he's in his 50s. Maybe it'll be, a
distinguished nightclub.
Yeah,
a gentleman's club where they smoke cigars and drink whiskey and
that's what I was hoping
horses.
for. Yeah. It turns out no. Turns out no.
Not even a little bit.
So they will go to a nightclub where there is a man with dwarfism named Radu who sings and who is the mascot of the nightclub, like a stuffed animal.
Yes,
the mascot.
He has quite the character arc. At one point, he's walking down the street in an oversized diaper.
Yes, that is correct.
Yes.
Yeah. The movie and possibly also Romania don't really know how to treat this man with dwarfism with perhaps the most respect.
The movie definitely doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of unfortunate images. But again, like when they let him have scenes where he gets to be a real character, I was like, oh, like this guy's a really good actor. Like he gets to have all the emotions. He gets to have like a whole emotional arc, but it's like it feels despite the movie and not so much because of the movie. But anyway, so we'll meet him at the nightclub. His name is Radu. He sings, he dances, he knows people. He's super cool with child pornography, we're going to find out. Anyways, that's Radu. The ambassador. This is the worst scene in the whole movie. And it's why I feel like I can't eat apricots anymore after watching this movie. The ambassador walks up to a lady and goes like, hey, can you hold my drink? And she's like, okay. Mistake number 1. No. He says, hold my drink. She takes it. He then sticks his fingers up inside of her in this club. It's not like a dark corner. It's like the middle of this very brightly lit nightclub in a room full of people who are all looking at him. He's talking to people and he just sticks his arm like up inside of her and like gives it a little swirl. And I was like, what is am I allowed to watch this? Am I going to go to prison? It was awful. And like, she's not into it. Her face is not like, oh, that's a fun hello. That's not how you say hi in Bucharest. It's not. She's upset about it. Then I was like, okay, that's as bad as it. This movie felt like Puppets Who Kill, where I was like, okay, this is as bad as it gets. And then it was like, next level up. And you're like, okay, now this is as bad as it gets. And then the movie's like, hold my fucking beer.
Yeah, no. It can always get worse.
So he takes his stank fingers out of her. And then he sniffs them and says it smells like apricots, which, first off, I don't think it's supposed to smell like apricots. I think that's maybe a medical problem. And I was like, okay. I was like, we're done now, right? Smelled it. Smells like apricots. Cool. Then he swirls his finger in his own drink. And I was like, is that to clean off your finger and now you're done and you're not going to drink that drink? No. Movie's like, fuck you. This is going to get worse. He then drinks the drink and then says it tastes like pussy. And I'm like, well, yeah, you just stick your pussy finger in there. Of course it tastes like pussy. That's why I figured out the mystery for you, sir.
Well, I know.
I don't even like.
Yeah.
I have nothing to say. I got nothing to say about it. It was so awful. I watched it and I was like, no, not Colin Fjord. No.
Well, Mr. Pornographer guy is watching him and he's like, respect.
He's just such a, like, he doesn't even have very many good reactions to things. He's just a schlub that moves around in different scenes in Romania.
Yeah. He's there to take pictures.
Yeah.
At random, like
trauma pictures.
And become obsessed with that guy whose knees bend the wrong way.
Oh, we'll get to him.
Because he's already met him at this point. Because he sees him on the side of the road and he pulls off to go take pictures of this guy.
So upsetting. This movie, it really is disability porn in like a way I don't even know how to handle. But yes, just put a pin in the man with the crab legs. Because we'll get back to him. That guy. Although when I was trying to look him up and try and figure out the name of his character, IMDb says his character's name is Sour Grapes. And I was like, cool.
That's how everybody greets him. They're like, what's up, Sour Grapes?
I think I must have blacked out anytime anyone talked to him. But also, there's one single picture of this actor online, and it's like an extreme close-up of his face. And I was like, oh, he's actually super handsome. I didn't notice that because I was freaked out because he was crawling around on the ground like a horror movie.
Because it wasn't about who he was.
No.
It was about what he looked like and how it was going to get people to give him awards at award shows.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. This movie is a little not subtle. But anyways, yeah. So I didn't super know how to deal with the handsome man with the backwards legs, but we'll get to him because he's important. Okay. So we've met Radu the dwarf. We've got fingers up the pussy. They smell like apricots. They taste like pussy. Excellent. The ambassador will wander into another room, and it seems like very little time has passed between when the ambassador has left and when Jordan's like, oh hey, where'd the ambassador go? Full on orgy. Full on naked. And actually, they're not even. I think it would be less weird if he walked in.
They're all just sitting around.
Thank you. Naked. It would be less weird if they were having sex, but they're all just like, it's like they're taking a little break. They're taking a 5-minute breather, a 7th inning stretch in the middle. And they're all just like drinking and smoking and hanging out totally
like
in the nude.
18 women and him.
This feels very Lando Malari.
It does a bit, yeah.
Except I like Lando Malari, and I don't like this man. This man is gross. Lando would never stick his fingers in you.
No.
He's a classy...
He would do it if you wanted him to, but he wouldn't do it if he didn't want you to.
No, I mean, look, whatever you consent to, go nuts with him and his 7 penises or whatever. But like, no, he wouldn't surprise you. He wouldn't poke you in public. No, not in a fucking party with like Jacquard and Delenn.
A fucking party.
Yes. A fucking party, possibly. Yes.
Yes.
It's just a lost episode of Babylon 5.
The deleted scenes from the episode where he had his religious exposition or whatever.
Yeah, this is the second half of his religious ceremony.
Yeah.
Just goosing women.
First, we all get drunk. You guys are really going to like the second part.
Everybody eat apricots. Ready? This movie ruined fruit for me. I can't even, how bad do you have to be to make me cry when I see fruit? That's what this movie did to me. Okay, so fingers up the puss.
The not orgy.
The not orgy. The break in the orgy? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so awful. So Jordan's like, pass. He will be trying to get photos from, like, and to his credit, he'll be trying to get photos from adult women at this party. And they will agree to have sex with him, which, again, I would like to point out this is the director, because none of these hot Romanian women in real life are going anywhere near Schlubby McShlubberson. But they're like, oh, of course we will have sex with you. No photos, though. I am religious. And I was like, what? Fuck? Like, the lady at the orgy is like, no, I will blow you in front of this room with 17 other people, but, like, I don't want photos. Like, my mom buys that porno mag. No, thank you. So... Jordan's like, oh, okay, well, if I can't take photos, I guess I'll go home. I don't want to be part of this not orgy. So he will take the ambassador's car, and Radu will just kind of be there. Like,
he jumps in the car as he's getting in the car. Like, they open the door for Schlubby, and then Radu just like runs right in front of him and jumps in the car, and they're all like, ha ha ha, isn't that cute? The little mascot's in the car. Aww.
It's so awful.
And and he just gets in the car and the guy's in the car with him.
Yeah. Which, it's weird because, like, this character gets so much depth, and then, like, every other character, like, looks at him, just like a dumb wild animal. Which, like, the movie hounds that in, that, like, people with differences are treated like wild animals so fucking much. And then there's still, like, an hour and 38 minutes left in the movie. And you're like, why? Yeah. I get it. I understand your point. Why am I still watching this? So... we've got Radu, we've got Jordan, we've got the ambassador's car. They go to another club where the ambassador's daughter is. And also, and I just want to pause and point out, again, we are in Romania. Romania. They go to a club. What's there? A mariachi band. And I was like, why? Where the fuck do you find a Romanian mariachi band? Is that a thing?
You got? Because they asked everyone and they're like, oh, what's your movie about? And he's like, how terrible and awful your country is, and how many disabled people there are, and how they beg, and how there's dogs everywhere, and how people come here because your laws are so different that they can take pictures of naked youth and then sell them for profit. And they're like, we're not going to be in your movie. And so they ended up with just like Bob the mariachi guy who went to Spain one time and fell in love with mariachi music and has been trying to launch his mariachi career in Bucharest ever since and just can't seem to get it off the ground. And he was like, well, at least I'll be in a movie.
That honestly makes more sense than literally anything else that happens in this entire film.
Yeah.
That there was just one guy who's like, it's my chance. He has his maracas. He's like, now.
Was that your first choice? Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yes. This movie needed a mariachi.
Yes.
Okay. So the daughter is there. And then, you know how when you go to a club and you get a little drunk, you start giving Romanian history lessons? Well, that's what the daughter does. Mm-hmm. So she starts talking to Jordan about Nicolae Ceausescu and how he wanted everyone to be exactly equal. And so what that meant was that he was going to bulldoze down anyone who had a house, like the house of anyone who had a house, so that he could set up a bunch of very equal apartment buildings. And what that meant was that anyone who had a yard probably had a dog, and anyone who had a dog, I guess all the dogs start running free, and then none of the dogs are fixed, and then they have more puppies, and then that's how Bucharest becomes the city of dogs. The mayor doesn't like that, so he hires a bunch of dog catchers. Like, I was like, okay, I feel like you could have given us this information in some more natural way than drunk teenage daughter expositing it in front of a mariachi band.
Well, he asks, he's like, what's up with all the dogs?
Yeah, but like if you're the writer of the movie, I mean, like it's do you know what I mean? Like I feel like because he's seen packs of roving dogs like this entire time.
Yeah, it's
not like he went to the mariachi band and they all got attacked by wild dogs and he's like, what the hell is that? Like it was, you know?
Yeah.
Although that would have been amazing. Can you imagine no dogs this entire movie and then all of a sudden they see a mariachi band and like all the feral dogs of Bucharest are like, whoa, and they all just like. They've never seen this before. It's the first mariachi band in Bucharest. It pisses off all the wild dogs. Okay, we now have our proprietary horror film, I think. The wild dogs versus the lone mariachi playing all of Bucharest. If you want to watch this as the comedy movie. But anyways, they have their Romanian history. And like it's frustrating because like I would honestly like to learn, tell me more about Romanian history. And like, what's going on with Romania right now? What I know about Romania could fill a thimble. Do you know what I mean? Like, tell me, show me, let me understand in a way that doesn't feel so fucking exploitative and heavy-handed and like maybe less dog killing. Maybe you could, you know, fewer sex peddlers. Because I feel like not everybody in Romania, in Bucharest, is a sex peddler. But in this movie, every fucking person is a gross sex peddler. Like,
yeah.
It doesn't feel...
There's no two sides to this coin.
No.
There's just the sex coin.
No, it's tits and ass. That's your coin.
That's it. Yeah.
So they have a fun discussion about the history of Bucharest. They will cut to... He has somehow found... I don't remember if this is where Radu helps him, or if it's just on his own, but he will find adult women who want pornographic pictures taken of them. Do you remember how he finds them, or is it just that he's already in the hotel room?
There's nothing stitches this movie together.
No, it's just a bunch of scenes.
It's just a series of scenes with dogs in between them.
Yeah.
People just start showing up and he starts taking pictures of them.
So we're in a hotel room. We have this one extremely blasé woman. He'll get her to take, like, this is not like tasteful nudes. This is like taking off her underwear and her legs are wide open and her knees are behind her head. Like it's graphic, hardcore pornography. So she'll be sitting on a chair so she can, you know, flex herself wide open enough. And as she's sitting there, she's also talking about the history of Romania in like this deadpan voice, which is so fucking funny. And I don't think the movie means it to be funny, but she's just like, oh, hey, in that parking lot over there, a bunch of revolutionaries got killed. Things were better before the revolution. Oh, you may grab my lips? All right, here we go. And she's just like flapping herself open. And I was like, what? Fucking what? Like,
I think Radu might get them because Radu does a lot for him.
Yeah, he becomes kind of his consigliere. I know he gets the children later, but I couldn't remember if he also got the adult women. Maybe. I don't know. Radu is a talented guy with a lot of contacts. I'm going to assume Radu got the ladies for Jordan.
He's a big plot device in this movie.
Yeah.
He fills a lot of gaps in for us.
Yeah, he makes everything happen. So we will hear about how things were better before the revolution. Jordan's like, all right, I got some like deep inside the pussy shots. I hate that word. He'll send all the photos over to Ger. Ger, I guess, I don't know what time it is in Toronto when it's like 7 p.m. in Bucharest, but Ger's character is wide the fuck awake and is like, these women don't seem like it's a crime for me to be viewing them. This is not what I asked for. I feel regular dirty and not I should go to prison dirty. do it again. So he's like, I want actual underage girls because the laws are different there. And then the Jordan character's like, hey, Radu, could you get me some children for the pornography? And Radu's like, I got you, man. He gets him a little girl. And the worst part is, like, the little girl is with the girl's mother. Like, the mother is holding the little girl for some of these pictures. And I was like, oh, God. Oh, this is... Like, when you hear a movie about child porn, you're like, it's going to be this bad. And the movie's like, what if her mom's there? And you're like, no, it's worse.
Yeah, what if I make it worse? How can I make it worse? I feel like that's what he asked himself this entire movie. Was
Every
like,
scene.
Well, that was bad, but how can I make it worse?
Yeah, I'm not crying and throwing up while I write this. What can I add? Oh, yeah. I know. Naked mommy. Here we go. What can I add? Smells like apricots. All right, I barfed in my mouth. This movie's going to win me awards. And then it did.
And then it did.
This movie was a journey.
Meg. Yes.
So he will take kiddie porn pictures, which we get to watch. We don't actually see the naked parts of the little kid because, again, that would be actual child pornography. So
yes.
Thanks, standards. Thumbs up. But he will take them and then go and weep in the shower, which we do get to watch. We get to watch him weep. And I'm like, good, you deserve it. You fucking suck. And I kind of wanted the movie to end there, but it doesn't end there. The movie keeps going. So Jordan will, I guess, the next day feel bad and be like, I want to help the underage girl I just exploited. And Ryder's like, we are never, ever going to find her again. She's part of the Romani. We'll never see her again. She disappeared into a cloud. She took her money and she's going to go and get Romanian child therapy and she's gone. So Jordan's like, okay, I guess I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to bother. But you know what? I remember that man that I pulled over on the side of the highway to take a picture of, the man with the crazy crab legs, who's real upsetting to look at, that everyone calls sour grapes. Let's go find him. And Ryder's like, oh, I know where that guy lives. I got you. I'm going to pause for a second. I'm going to try and describe this man, who's this very handsome man. And if you go to IMDb and you look up this movie, he is credited only as sour grapes, which also bums me out. But he doesn't look like he's been in anything else, which is a bummer because, like, you know, the couple of scenes he gets where he gets to talk and act a little bit, like, he does a good job. I think he could do a good job in other things. But he, at least in this movie, and I'm guessing probably real life because I feel like this movie did not have an SFX budget, his knees appear to be backwards. So, like, the rest of him is facing frontwards, but his knees are backwards, which means that when he's walking, he has to kind of walk on all fours. And he looks like a grasshopper, kind of. You know how the shape of a grasshopper, how, like, they have that part of their leg that goes, like, points up behind them. So if you imagine that and put a human man face on the front of it, and then imagine that walking across your floor, that's kind of the deeply unsettling vibe that this poor man has. Someone at some point will explain to Jordan that it's not like this guy was born that way, but his legs were probably broken or twisted, I guess, as a child, so that he would be able to be a really great beggar for the rest of his life, which is a thing that we have to think about. Mm-hmm. Because probably that either happened to this actor in real life, or, I mean, it's at least happened to people in real life. That's like a real thing that has happened. And this movie, like, doesn't know how to address in any kind of a way.
No.
And it's just, like, it's so clumsy.
It tries anyway.
It tries so hard.
And fails miserably.
Correct, yeah.
Yes.
Crash and burn. But, anyways. Oh, and this man, he all he wants is a pair of gloves because he has to walk on his hands and feet because he can't stand upright. He has to walk on all fours, and he really wants some gloves, and he wants to buy some gloves. That's his whole character arc. I'm a man who wants gloves. So that's Mr. Sour Grapes. So Jordan's like, hey, remember that time when I drove the car off the side of the highway so I could just take some exploitative pictures of Mr. Sour Grapes? And Ryder's like, I got you. I know where that guy hangs out. So we go and we see Sour Grapes. Jordan will get him clothes for whatever reason. Because, like, that's what this guy's missing in his life is, like, a super nice suit. But anyways, he gets him clothes. And then immediately, like an army of people run up to Sour Grapes and they, like, rip the clothes off of him. They steal all of his new clothes, which is a thing that we had to watch, which is a real bummer. So Jordan is like, well, I guess I can't just dress the man with the backwards legs. I would like to help get him out of Romania. So I'm just going to go to the Canadian ambassador, my good pal, Victor, who loves orgies and has testicular cancer. And I'm going to ask him if he can do, I don't know, some ambassadorial magic and get this guy a passport and get him out. And, like, it only make sense that he would be getting him a Canadian passport because it's the Canadian ambassador. And like, I don't know how the Canadian ambassador would help you get a passport from your own country. I mean, maybe he has contacts, but the passport they throw at him later is a red, like, European Union passport.
That's his passport, I think. I think it's like, go home. Here's your shit.
Yeah, but like, I thought they wanted to give... No, it's a passport for Sour Grapes Man.
Is it?
Yeah, because a Canadian passport's blue like an American one. This is red. I thought... So it's confusing. It's confusing. So I think what Jordan's thought
I don't know what happens.
Is like, I want to get a passport to Sour Grapes so that Sour Grapes can leave Romania.
Yeah.
Which would either be a Romanian passport, which like, I'm confused about the ability of the Canadian ambassador to get you a Romanian passport, even if he's the Canadian ambassador to Romania. But maybe that's a thing he can do. Otherwise, I guess he's making you like a fake Canadian passport? Like no version makes any sense to me. But anyways, Jordan's like, my plan is get the guy with the terrifying legs, get him a passport. He's like, that's my plan. I gave him clothes and that didn't work out. So next option is a passport and a sack of money. Like that's his goal. And I was like, okay, You took a weird leap, but sure. I'm sure the guy would, sure, whatever. So he goes to the ambassador and he's like, hey, we're buddies. Can I have a passport for some guy? And the ambassador's like, fuck off forever. And so Jordan is like, okay, I got this. I know how I'm going to fix this. He gets the ambassador's daughter to have sex with him, which again, she's a very pretty girl who looks just like, why can't I think of it? Who's the original actress from Clueless who plays Cher? Alicia Silverstone. So the daughter does in fact look a lot like Alicia Silverstone, like to passably pass for Alicia Silverstone in the TV show. Like she's very close looking to her. She's very pretty. She's a very pretty, very young blonde woman. And Schlubby McShlubberson is like, oh, fuck me. And she's like, you know what? Yeah.
She starts flirting with him immediately, too. She's like, wow, this guy's so hot. Every woman in this movie is like, I want to hit that. It's so hot. And I was like, oh, you wrote this movie.
It's more gross than the child porn.
You wrote this movie.
His dick wrote this movie.
Mm-hmm. That's
just pounding on the keyboard. And then the woman who looks like Alicia Silverstone wants to blow me. Anyways, I would believe it if he had roofied her and then she woke up like mid-sex. Like that would have made sense to me. But instead she's like, oh my God, I want you. Schlubby 35-year-old Canadian pornographer. Oh, and I was like, really? Fucking what? What?
No.
Anyways, so she's like, do me, Schlubbo. So they this movie, I hated it. So they have upsetting sex. He will try and videotape her. She catches him and is like, no, you're not going to take a picture.
He takes a flash photo of her face while they are having sex. And it's like, click, click, like it's the like shutter camera. So it makes a really loud noise. And she's like, the fuck was that? And he's like, I took a picture of you. And she's like, get the fuck off.
It is funny how he seemed to think that was going to work. He's like, it makes a big flash and makes a loud noise 1 inch from her eyeball. He's like, what, you could
no
tell?
one will know. Isn't he also filming it? Because we get like a zoom
correct.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, but he so he tries to take pictures of her. She's like, delete it. I need you to delete it. And he's like, okay. And then he's also secretly filming her at the same time. So he ends up having like a full length amateur porn movie of them having sex. He will then take stills from that movie, print them out, and walk up to the ambassador and be like, ta-da, I have porn of your daughter. Ta-da, here you are. Please give me a passport now. And so the ambassador's like, well, okay then, like touche. So he makes him a passport. He shows up with the ambassador makes him a passport. He shows up with his goons. His goons kick the shit out of the guy, out of Jordan. The ambassador will then whip out his dick and piss all over Jordan, which I might have cheered. I might have cheered a little bit at this point in the movie. But then they like throw the passport at him, the red passport. So I don't know. I guess somehow they use the black market to make a Romanian passport because that's the only version of this that makes sense. Jordan will give the passport to the backwards knee man, who's like, I didn't ask for this and I don't speak English, but I guess that's my picture. Okay, thank you. Does it say sour grapes in it? Because that's the only name anyone says in the whole movie.
Grapes, sour.
Oh my God, this movie.
Sour grapes. SURGRAPEE.
Well, this feels like a real name. It's pronounced grapes. It's a traditional Romanian name. It's pronounced grapes.
Yeah.
So they throw the passport at him, and the guy, I don't even know what he does with the passport. He's like, okay, shrug. But they also
give him a wad of cash too,
like a sack of money. All it was missing was like a Scrooge McDuck sack with a dollar sign on the outside. It's literally just like the I feel bad about pornography bag o' money. So they throw money at him. The guy's like, hey, neat, cool. He walks off down to the like open air market and he goes to the guy. This part is the part of the movie that made me the most upset, even including the dog killing. He goes up to this guy who has a stall and he was there earlier in the movie trying to buy gloves, and the guy had said some kind of a price, and the guy with the backwards legs, sour grapes, was like, I don't have that much money. Okay. So cut to now, he's got a big sack of money from the guilty Canadian pornographer. He goes up to the little stall. He's like, hey, you still have the gloves? And the guy's like, yeah, I have the gloves. And then he's like, they're actually twice as much now as they were earlier. Fuck you, give me the money. And the guy's like, you're gonna double charge me? I'm the man with the broken legs. You're gonna charge me twice as much for gloves? And the guy's like, that's the market economy. And then he's like, get the fuck out of here. Don't ever come back. And I was like, you're mean? Like, you're going to double charge him and be mean to Sour Grapes, the man with the backwards legs who has to walk around like a fucking cricket this whole movie? You're the worst character in this movie about pornographers.
Yeah.
It was so... Anyways, he gets his gloves.
Get them? Yeah,
he does get the gloves. So it's a real triumph of the human spirit.
And that's the end for him.
Yeah, for him, yeah. So he gets them... Well, he goes back to his house full of other disfigured people, and he's like tossing money around.
Well, they tell him this is more money than you've probably ever had in your lifetime. Or whatever, which has to feel really bad for, what's the little guy's name again?
Oh, wait, no, I wrote it down. Darutu.
Yeah, it's got to feel really bad for Darutu because he's been this guy's guide, procurer, translator, and whatever else. And
you're talking about the man with dwarf it. You're talking about Radu.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Radu.
Radu gets the short shaft at the end of this movie.
Radu gets nothing. He has to connect the schlubby guy with Sour Grapes, and then he becomes obsessed with Sour Grapes, and he ends up giving Sour Grapes everything, which he would not have been able to do without
Radu. Yeah, he couldn't do anything without Radu. Radu treats him to a fun party night with the mariachi band. Radu, I think, finds the adult women to take the photos. Radu finds the children to take the photos. Radu then finds Sour Grapes multiple times. Radu does everything for him. And yeah, at the end of the movie, Radu is like, please take me with you. Please take me with you. The guy, Jordan, doesn't even try the passport thing. That never occurs to him with Radu, who helps him. He's like, no, I saw this guy with weird legs outside the window of my car one time. That's the guy that I'm going to help get out of Romania. So Radu was like, please. Like, Radu's life sucks because, as you said, Radu is treated like a mascot for this hotel, this restaurant, club, whatever. He has to make money by dressing up in embarrassing, degrading outfits. They dress him up like a baby for some kind of corporate event. You see several scenes of him just like getting drunk just to kind of get through the shittiness that is his life. At one point, he passes out drunk in the street, and people walk by and they're like, is that a dead dwarf? I guess maybe it is. And they just walk on. They're like, well, that's... Yeah. I'm going to tell someone what I saw today. I saw 3 birds and a dead man in the gutter. It has been a full day here in Bucharest. It's so fucking dark. Like, Radu's life is shit. And Jordan gets to see Radu's life. You think the Jordan character would care about Radu, but Jordan's like, no. So, the two storylines, so the dog catcher storyline will kind of dovetail here with our Jordan the pornographer storyline. Radu will end up grabbing one of the puppies that are running out of the secret puppy spa bathhouse at the big cop standoff. And then Radu is like, hey, will you at least take this puppy? If you can't save a human soul, will you save this puppy? And it is like the most gentle moment of the entire movie because like up until this point, no one cared about the dog. Radu didn't give a shit about the dogs. No one cared about the dogs. But Radu was like, puppy? And Jordan's like, yeah, hard pass. And then Radu's like, save someone, suck less, save the puppy, man. And Jordan's like, okay. So Jordan takes the puppy, and then he will call Ger's character and go, hey, I gave all your money to some rando beggar. See you in hell. And then he sends him all of his art house pictures of just like random black and white sadness from Bucharest.
Which do the most. When you used to be able to tell Microsoft to make a photo, like a slideshow, and you could tell it to do fun. Anyway, that's what it looks like, because they like float across the screen and they like spin around in circles, and then they zoom out and they're like dancing across the screen.
Yeah, no, the movie ends on a screensaver. Absolutely.
Yeah. I was like, I really hope that's how he sent those photos to Ger.
Yeah.
Like as an MP4 of the photos dancing around.
Yes. Yeah. So the actual, like, the full screen movie ends with Raido being like, I guess you're not going to save me. Here's a puppy. Save the puppy. And Jordan calling Ger. Then we get that thing where you've got the credits going down half the screen, and then the other half the screen is just some fun art house sad pictures of black and white sadness in Romania. It does look exactly like a 90s era screensaver of like vacation photos that you took, like artsy vacation photos that you then decided to put a black and white filter on. Except they are all the homeless people and animals of Bucharest, which was a choice. And then you do see a little color photo of the puppy inside a carrier going onto the airplane. So, the puppy got saved. And that's the last photo I think you see in the entire movie. Just the happy puppy. The movie ends with a happy puppy going to a new home with a former pornographer in Canada. So, yay. A movie that ends on a happy high note.
Yay.
This movie, wow. Again, this movie won 4 awards.
Do you ever watch a movie and you're like, you are trying really hard to win something? Like, you really want to be the Academy Award nominee for Best Picture. Like, you can tell. Yeah, that's what this felt like.
What? It won. I feel weirder about it winning for, like, editing than for it winning for anything else. Do you know what I mean? Like, this movie was really long, and, like, there's just, like, the random moments of wild animals just kind of cut in, and, like, the dog catcher whole subplot was like, why are we wasting my time on, like, things just dragged. The whole movie dragged.
Only in that there were a lot of scenes, I guess. They were like, wow, that guy did a lot of editing because he had to put a lot of scenes together.
Maybe they were happy that he took out, like, more pornography. Like, there was, like, a lot more scenes of the Jordan character getting laid, and the editor was like, you know what? We need one of these. Only one. And he just, like, took out all the other ones. And they were like, wow, you did such a great
editing. They got to the apricot scene, they just blanked out. And then they were like, oh my God, I don't remember anything from that movie. And they're like, what are we going to give it? And they're like, I don't know, editing?
Yeah.
I guess.
I edited this from my soul, so the editor must have done a very good job.
This was extremely good.
Yeah.
I would like to edit it from my soul. I would like to go back in time to have never watched this movie.
But you know what? I will
and I've watched Tusk.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I remember hearing about Tusk, and I was like, that sounds sort of interesting. And then I don't know if it was when I read the synopsis or when I saw, like, the first photo of I can't think of his name, the young guy with the black hair. The main character, the main actor in Tusk.
Oh, I know, but I never know actors' names, so I don't know.
I know him from the Mac and PC commercials with John Hodgman, but I never...
He was in Galaxy Quest too.
Justin Long. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Right up there. So when I saw the first picture of Justin Long with the, like, walrus, I don't know, skins or whatever, like, all sewn up on him, I was so deeply disturbed that I was like, you know what? Cannot watch this movie.
Yeah, it's deeply disturbing.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah. And this, I'm sorry, you hated this more?
Mm-hmm. I'm more disturbed by this movie than I was by Tusk.
Wow. Explain.
Elaborate. Well, Tusk was at least honest. They were trying to gross you out. That was the whole point. It's about this guy who fetishizes walruses, and he kidnaps people, and he slowly transforms them into walruses. And it's horrifying, and it's gross. But that's
wait, fetishize? Like, is it for, like, it's for sex purposes?
No, he thinks they're better than people.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a thing that he does. Anyway.
Sure, yeah.
And so, yeah, the whole point of the movie was to be gross and to gross you out and to be body horror. And it is. And this movie was like I'm going to make you feel things for the people in Romania so that you will want to go there and help them. And I'm going to do that by filming them so that you can look at them, because I liked looking at them and you'll like looking at them too. Because there are some long scenes where it's just like the kid on the roller skate for a really long time. And then we're at the orphanage for a really long time. And there's no point in us being at the orphanage. And the main character, the pornographer guy, it feels like an obsessive thing for him. And it feels like it's probably an obsessive thing for the guy, the actor, like the writer, actor, star. Like it feels weird. Like it feels like it's like I watch a lot of My 600 Pound Life because we all have to have the thing that we watch that maybe we shouldn't, but we do anyway. And they always film them from below. Like the camera is always at this like 30-degree angle, like below them, just to kind of emphasize their size. That's the whole point. I hate it. I keep waiting for them to like revamp how they film the show to stop feeling so like, look at how big they are, guys. Look at, and I'm like, well, that was, when it came out 15 years ago, I was more forgiving, but like now we're past that. Like I want to see them lose weight. Like I want to see, yeah. And that's what it felt like. It felt like we're filming from an angle so that it emphasizes how disabled they are, so that we'll all feel things in a voyeuristic way.
Yeah. No,
and yet it's framed as like a altruistic.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think we're being too cruel when we say that this movie feels like disability porn. It feels like poverty porn.
Yeah.
I mean,
and not even like the inspiration porn. Like sometimes you'll get disability porn, but it's coupled with the like, but they overcome their disabilities. Isn't that great? It's not. It's like the guy gets beat up for his clothes and then he gives him a wad of cash. Like this dude isn't going to get killed for this money.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. I would not have been surprised if that had been the way the movie went.
Yeah. It was tone deaf. It felt very tone deaf.
Well, and it felt like I realized that like this character is just sort of he's a dumb pornographer. Like he's not supposed to be maybe super savvy in this way, but it did feel like I want to help. What's the least effective way that I could possibly help someone?
Yeah, just hand somebody cash.
Well, even the passport. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Like, what is he going to do with that? How's he going to afford to leave?
Thank you. Where's this guy going to go?
He can't even afford gloves. What's he going to do? Get a job, save up, and buy a plane ticket?
Like, he only appears to speak Romanian. He lives in a house with like 17 other people that it sort of feels like his begging supports them, or at least contributes to the support of them. Like, he can't, like, not to be super cruel, but like, how is this guy getting into a car? How's this guy getting onto a plane? How's this guy going anywhere? Do you know what I mean? Like, how is he?
Yeah.
How are you helping him to get him I mean, I guess like the money you gave him, that's not nothing. That like buys him food and shelter for like a little bit longer. But also it feels sort of like you walked into a systemic problem and you went, you know what? I'm going to give one guy a sack of money and a passport to nowhere. Yeah. I have solved Romania.
Yes,
back to Canada. Like I just...
Aren't I a good dude? Doesn't this make up for taking pictures of naked children?
Yes. Yeah. There's like a weird equivalency there. And like
because he even takes pictures of sour grapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, those are part of his artsy Romanian poverty porn pictures that like we end up getting to see at the end of the movie. Just, I don't know. I don't hate this. Like I said, it's not cynical in the way that a cash grab movie like American Psycho 2: All American Girl is, but like, also, like, at least with Puppets Who Kill, like, that was gross on purpose. This seems like it really thought that it was it's heartfelt, but the heartfelt emotions, like, they're wrong and they're not actually helpful. And I feel like, do I know more about Bucharest now than I did before I watched the movie? I guess sort of. I didn't know that there were wild dogs everywhere, which apparently is a thing, at least according to that one IMDb review where the woman was like, "Oh yes, when I was pregnant, the dogs attacked me." And I was like, "Oh, okay. So I guess that's not made up for this movie. Excellent. Good to know."
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, poor IMDb reviewer lady. But like it's weird because I feel like the actors had a lot of depth to them, but like what they were allowed to show in the movie was so little that like I don't really feel like I know anything about their characters or their lives. Like if you wanted to give me something inspirational on like how to help Romania or the Romanian people, I feel like you showed me like the stupidest, least effective way to do that. It felt voyeuristic watching the kid scoot around on his little single rollerblade. And watching Sour Grapes try and walk next to the highway.
Even that. We had long scenes where it's like, look at these people trying to live their lives when they don't have arms. And it was like the older guy drinking coffee and he didn't have he just had like elbow and up.
Yeah.
There was quite a bit of like, yeah, it's literally not just them. It's long scenes where we're filming these groups that all share some sort of limb difference or some sort of disability. They don't have the same ones, but they're like all banded together because they all have a disability of some kind. Hey, let's film them for 15 minutes. Look how they take a shower, you guys.
Yeah, it definitely felt more voyeuristic than humanizing.
Yeah.
And the movie definitely thought like, oh, we're humanizing these people. But then it was like, what if we just get a whole bunch of random people with, I don't know, like a bunch of limb differences, like whatever they have, we'll just get them all together. We'll sit them in a room and be like, now drink coffee. Isn't it weird how you drink coffee? Like, I'm going to bring a camera right up to your nose. Ignore them while you drink coffee in the weird way that you have to because you don't have fingers. Like, go. And it felt more pornographic than if they had actually showed me the inside of that lady's vagina when she was talking about the revolution.
Because they weren't characters. If you want to humanize them, then you got to make them characters. And like Sour Grapes doesn't even have a name. His name is Sour Grapes. And the boy that eats off the ground because that lady keeps leaving food on the ground for him. And then there's the scene where she bathes him.
Yeah.
And he's like an animal. She has to lock him in the room and then like tackle him and put him in the bath because
exactly what I did with my dog last week is what she does to this little child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very, uncomfortable.
Yeah. And like the Radu character, like you almost get like a real character with him. Even though most of it is just like, wow, it must really suck to be a man with dwarfism in Bucharest in 2002. It seems like a real shitty situation that he's in. And then the movie's like, no, but actually we care more about Sour Grapes. Like, fuck Radu.
Yeah,
fuck Radu and his puppy. We don't care.
He's just here to be a plot device. It's fine.
Yeah.
Although we very deliberately include that scene, which has no other characters in it, so it doesn't even need to be in it, where he's dressed like a baby.
Yeah, just to grind in the humiliation.
He's not with the pornographer. There's no plot purpose. It's literally just he gets a phone call and he's like, sure, I'll do whatever you need. And then he's walking down the street in a diaper.
It does feel like...
And then he's like shaving and bathing himself outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the movie wants us to feel for these people, but instead it just seems to delight in humiliating them.
Yeah.
While we watch. And then... Like, I don't have any real feeling that, like, the pornographer has been changed by his exposure to poverty in Romania or whatever. It just feels like he wasn't super happy about being a pornographer when the movie starts. And then his boss, who treats him like shit, like Ger's character is not very nice to him, who then also was like, please take child porn. That he was begrudgingly okay with until he actually had to take the child porn. And then he was like, nope, I've actually found my limit. My limit is child pornography, which
it's a good line, I guess.
It's a good line. I had hoped that your line would be maybe an inch to the left of that, but like, I'm glad you found it. That's good. We should all know our limits. Yours is actually doing child pornography. So that's something to think about. But like it feels more like, I don't know, like this is my last straw with this job and not I've learned and grown and changed as a person, you know?
Yeah.
Or like now I suddenly care about Romania and I'm going to try to do things to help the people of Romania. Like even J.K. Rowling, for all of her many, many, many faults, has a charity that's supposed to help Romanian orphans. I mean, that's how I first remember hearing about the children that, like are raised without touch. and kept in cribs for too long that we had talked about earlier. Like, that's how I first, Lumos is her charity. And I remember hearing about that and I was like, oh, what's going on in Romania? And then I like went to the Lumos About Us page and went, oh my God, holy shit. I had no idea. That you don't know everything that's happening all over the world. And then you find out, you're like, oh, things have been terrible. And I never knew.
Or great. And I didn't know. There's a whole range of things that just don't percolate through.
Yeah.
Especially into the US.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of like, and not to bring this back to vampires, as every episode will eventually make its way back to vampires. But I remember, as it should. I remember there was an episode of Angel where they end up finding out that there's a hole directly through the center of the earth, like from the top of, there's a hole on the outside and then it goes through the earth and there's like a hole on the bottom, and they end up talking about it. The characters end up talking about it like there's a hole through the center of the entire earth, and we never knew. Like, none of us ever knew. Like, there's this horrible thing that has been here this entire time, this very sad, horrible thing, and we just, like, you think that we would have known, like when you find out a new terrible fact that you're like, how was
Is
I?
that Angel?
Yeah.
Oh, because that happens in the American version of Torchwood too.
Oh, well, that wouldn't surprise me. It's a compelling visual. Yeah, it's in the 5th season. I think they're trying to fix the Fred character who becomes possessed by a demon. I don't remember very much, but it's like, I don't know, like that. I feel like I've had the good version of that experience too, where you find out like, I don't know, like that there's like an animal that you'd never heard of before. And it's not like a bad thing, but you're like, I thought I knew all the animals. And it turns out there's like not like a newly discovered animal, but like an animal that everyone else knew about, but like you personally, new to you. Or like, I feel like I have this happen with like, I was gonna say weird fruit. That's maybe not fair, but like unusual fruits where you're like, no, I thought I knew all the fruits. And all of a sudden someone's like, oh, have you seen the blibbity blue fruit? And you're like, that's not a real fruit. And you Google it and it's like, turns out that it is. Turns out that's a real thing. Like the citron is a fruit. It's a separate thing. And that's what was crossbred with bitter oranges to make lemons, because lemons aren't natural. I didn't know that the citron was a thing. It's a separate fruit. It's a separate fruit that has gone for millions of years. That thing lived. I had no idea. I didn't know that was a fruit. So like I've had the positive version of that where you're like, oh, I'm a moron. I didn't know that thing. But then you have the negative version like this, where it's like, there's a hole through the world. And I had no idea. There's just this terrible thing that has always been there. And I didn't know this whole time. I lived my life in dumb ignorance of this crappy, horrible thing. And that's kind of when they talk about like the way that children were being raised in Romania, like that's kind of how that feels. Like, oh, there's this I didn't know this whole time. There's like this terrible situation, and that's just been going on, and I've just been living my life in like dumb ignorance of it. I don't feel like this movie helps me not continue to be in dumb ignorance of it, even though the entire movie is devoted to this.
To looking at it. Yeah.
So, I appreciate that it tries. I want to give it points for trying. So thank you for trying, even though it does feel like 51% a vanity project so you could fuck Romanian models. The other 49%, I feel like you had heart and you wanted us to care about the people of Romania with differences and the children of Romania and I don't know, I guess the people being exploited for pornography.
Which you then exploited.
Which you then personally exploit. Yeah.
Yes.
You tried to bring light to people who were exploited by exploiting them. And I think if you think about that, you'll see how that's maybe not the best way
I
to
feel
help
like
the
that's
exploited.
a fundamental problem of activism in the early 2000s. Was like,
oh, yeah.
Looking at it makes you aware of it. So what if we all looked at it? And then you're like, I mean, yes, but also you need to do more than just look at it, which is where we are now in 2025. Yeah. But in 2002, it was like, yeah, okay, great. I didn't know about that. Ooh, now I do know.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And now that I know, that's a good thing.
I mean, it's exactly like Ikwe. Did you know Native Americans are people? And the white people in the audience were like, what?
Oh my God.
Boom.
Yeah, the director didn't think so, but that's okay.
Oh. She won an award for that movie, by the way.
I know. She drove a van around and tossed natives in the back and was like, "You're in a movie now, bitch," and then drove off.
I'm grocery shopping. Not anymore, man. Now you're an actor. So, Rachel, how would you rate this movie?
I'm going to go 0 eyebrows out of 5. We
That's
get
fair.
nothing. We get nothing.
That
we
is
don't even
fair.
barely get him. And then the part of the movie that he's not in is, I'm glad he's not in it. I was like, oh man, when's he going to show up? And then 30 minutes in, I was like, I really hope he doesn't show up. He had already shown up, but I was like, is he going to fly out there and be like, fine, I'll find the children. I'll fuck the children myself.
That would have been so much worse.
I was like horrified that was going to happen. And I am so thankful that the movie didn't go there because it really felt like that was the trajectory we were headed on for a while.
Although I would just like us to think about the fact that Ger's scenes are the creepiest out of this entire movie. And this entire movie is poverty porn. He shows up twice, once to say the word pussy, which never again, please never, ever again.
Mm-mm.
And the second time to go, I told you I want child porn. The worst scenes in the entire movie are him on the phone going, get me Spider-Man, get me child porn. You managed to be the creepiest thing in this movie about limbless children.
Which is why I'm thankful he's not in the rest of the movie.
Oh, yeah. It could have only made it worse.
Because if we'd had to carry that on to him being an actual character, it would have been horrible. I mean, it's already horrible, but it's a horrible of I didn't feel the need to report this movie anywhere.
Oh, I'm definitely on a list for having bought it. I accept that. It is available. I think I must have bought it on Amazon. I feel like it probably was less than $7. I'm going to be real honest. If anyone also likes subtitles, sex to be you, because this movie only has subtitles when people are speaking Romanian sometimes. Not all the times you think that you would like to learn the things that they're saying. And then when they're speaking English, I had to run it through my little AI fake subtitle program because there were several times when the sound quality is just not very good. It's just real garbledy. It's a 2002 blurry Romanian torture porn movie.
Cam, yeah.
Yeah. So just if you're like, wow, this sounds great, I want to watch it, but will I be able to hear everything? The answer is no. The answer is no. Mm-hmm. What would I rate this nightmare of a movie? I'm going to give it.
I think Ikwe had 2.5 if you need a benchmark. And the previous lowest rating is American Psycho: All American Girl.
Oh yeah, that one made me angry. That one made me actively angry. Yeah. This one just made me feel bad for Romania.
Yeah.
And specifically the people that acted in this. But not in the way that
he wanted us
to
correct.
Feel bad. Yeah. I feel bad for Romania because of this movie.
Yeah.
Not not in the way that the movie wants me to feel things for Romania, but I feel bad for anyone in Romania that they're associated with this movie.
It feels like there are starving children in China for when we were younger.
Correct, yeah.
You need to eat that. There are starving people in China.
Yeah. I'm going to use the problem of the people in Romania to make you feel bad and in no way actually help the people of Romania, even the actors of this movie.
Yeah, I'm going to provide no solutions and no tangible help, but I'm going to make you look at it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if Ikwe was a 2.5, then I would give this a 2.5 also. I would bundle them together. It's not the worst thing technically I think I've ever seen. I do appreciate that they tried, and I'm putting my context lenses on for the fact that it's a 2002 movie that thought it was enlightening people in Canada and the States to the plight of Romanian children, which is important. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But also, this is just an hour and 40 minutes of pure exploitative garbage. And also a schlubby guy getting surprisingly confusingly laid.
Yeah.
And an old man non-orgy, which was a thing that we saw.
Yeah.
And can never unsee. So, yeah, 2.5 confused, sloppy, wet kisses who, again, really would prefer never to hear Ger say the word pussy ever again because that made me real sad.
Good benchmark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please never. Oh, my God. Well, the next thing that we're going to be watching, if we're going from the bottom of the list up, is Trudeau. So I'm hoping that the word pussy never pops up in that movie. But I guess we'll find out.
It's like when he cusses. Every time he cusses, you're like, oh, sir. Like when he in Slings and Arrows, when he's storming around, he's like, what the fuck?
But in Slings and Arrows, it's fun. I like him saying fuck.
I know, no, that's good. But no. There's some words that, I don't even like reading them in books. I definitely don't want to hear people say them out loud.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I don't know why pussy and panties also. I don't like the word panties because it just, I don't know. It makes me think of
problem with panties, but I'm with
children.
you on pussy. Yeah.
Yeah. I would rather, I know a lot of people don't like cunt. I love cunt. I think cunt is a wonderful word. It has it has gravitas.
Cunt has versatility.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cunt is great. Pussy, never.
I don't like pussy when you're referring specifically to female genitalia. But I'll call someone a pussy.
Oh, yeah. I don't mind. Even though mentally I'm like, is that great to be associating genitalia with weakness? But if I'm really gonna have my feminist moment hat on. But no, I will call someone a pussy. I was raised in the 90s. It's very hard for me not to call someone a pussy.
Sometimes it just comes out. You're just angry and you're like, well, there's and you're like, all right. That's actually that's not, I get what you're saying. It's a very oh, you're weak, but honestly, balls should be the weak ones.
Right. Correct. Exactly. Yeah. If we're going to have our feminist
you look
corner.
at them hard enough and they're like, I'll be hurt. So meanwhile, I can push the thing the size of a bowling ball out of mine and snaps right back.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen the movie Teeth. I know that they're great.
Yeah.
So, but I just don't like the sound of it for whatever reason. And I would Ger can swear in everything that he's in. I'm totally fine with it. I enjoy when he says fuck while wearing little socks.
He just so rarely does that. When he does, you're like, oh.
It does feel shocking every time.
Like a little tree. Oh, look, there's one.
It feels I feel like sometimes it's fun shocking, like when he says fuck in his little socks and his little bathrobe in Slings and Arrows. But this felt like, I'm going to be real honest, we're going to have a real moment. The first time you see your parent cry? That's what this felt like when he said pussy. I was like, oh, I saw something I wasn't supposed to see. I saw something that's changed. When you can't look at your parent exactly the same way afterwards forever because you saw them cry for the first time. That's what him saying pussy did to me. I was like, I'm different now. I'm all right. I'm not who I was before. Things are dark.
Again, I'm just glad he's not in this more. So
yeah. I mean,
the depths it probably would have forced him to plumb are just not what I would ever. As much as I love seeing him and stuff, I am thankful that he picked this one up, knowing he could film his entire scene in
an afternoon.
An hour.
Yeah. No, I like how Ger's roles, where he's not he's either in a long form series where he's in every single episode, bam, 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 or he seems like he's gotten a really good knack at the walk on cameo. Every time on Murdoch Mysteries where he's eating a ham sandwich next door in a totally incongruous outfit that does not fit what his character was wearing the last time we saw him. And he's like, fuck it, I don't know, I got a straw boater hat now. My character likes straw boater hats. Okay, here I am saying whatever.
I contain multitudes. It's fine. I'm Sherlock Holmes still. God. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go back to craft services. Going to get my ham sandwich. See you guys. Have a good week. I like the Ger walk-on roles even more because they're so fucking funny to me.
Show up, get paid, go home. I get that.
You want me to scream pussy into the phone and talk about kitty porn? Yeah, sure. Whatever. Yeah. I'm your man.
Paycheck's big enough. Sounds good to me.
Yeah. 3 hams this time.
Yes. Yeah. Honey glazed.
Is this why his agent won't get back to you?
I don't know.
Anyway, on that note, friends.
Bye.
Bye.